All right, guys, so we're going to be doing a different style type video today. We're going to be doing a reaction type video. So this is pretty much, I'm going to be showing a wide receiver versus DB clip on the screen that I've never really seen before and then reacting in real time. Same way that you guys are watching the clip for the first time is the same way I'm watching it. So we're going to kind of break down just some different things that I see the receivers doing correct, doing wrong. And so hopefully this gives you guys some value and hope you guys can take home some stuff from this. So if you enjoy this style of videos, something new, we've never done it before, make sure you post in the comment section below, guys. Let us know because these reactionary videos are super easy to make, and we'd like to make more of these if you guys are enjoying it, okay? So now, this first clip here, every single clip that you look at a film, anytime that you're watching film, anytime that you're in a situation as a wide receiver versus press, you always want to look for two specific things. What's their leverage and what is their distance from me? That is how I can ultimately decide what release to use. So off of this clip, I know it's kind of cut off right here, but we have a DB who's lined up to appears to be inside shade press, and again, he's probably about maybe like a yard off the line of scrimmage, right? So what that tells me is that when he's inside shade press, regardless of the route, don't even know what route he's running, regardless of the route, I know that I'm going to be, he's trying to take away an inside breaking route, and he's trying to force me to the sideline, and the sideline is his help. That's all known based off of his leverage. Now, if he's right up on the line of scrimmage, that tells me what I should do with my release. I don't need to do a release where I got to close the space with him. I just need to give him something quick and then go. Now, let's play this full speed, and then we'll see what this receiver ultimately does here. So he kind of takes the route to the inside. Okay, so he forces this inside release versus inside shade press, and you guys ultimately see what happens. So anytime, guys, that you're running a route versus inside shade press, we should never force the release. Just because I have an inside breaking route does not mean that I have to take an inside release. I think that's a mistake a lot of receivers make, is that if it's an inside route, I must get to the inside. If he's inside shade press, you guys, like we said, his goal is to not let us go to the inside. So if my game plan is give him a move, then cut to the inside, that DB, if he's disciplined, is going to hold his leverage, get hands on us, reroute us to the inside, and as you can see on the screen here, this receiver's all the way on the hash. So if you're getting rerouted all the way to the hash, you guys, that's not necessarily a realistic route. Imagine in a real game scenario, let's say you're doing like a double dig concept. Outside receivers running a dig, slot receivers running a dig. You can't run your dig right on top of the slot. That's horrible spacing, and then one defender could card two routes, so we can't force it. So what this receiver should have done is, instead of forcing the release inside, he should have been able to take the outside release. DB's inside shade press, let's give him a move inside, take the outside release. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, won't he be right on my hip? How am I supposed to run my route like that? If he's right on our hip, that's a good thing, you guys. You could use your inside hand, swat him by, slip under, or we could stack over the top of him where he's trailing behind me, give him a move, and then be able to go. So it's better to have spacing on the play and a slightly slower break than, oh, I got the inside release, but I'm damn near almost on the other hash, and that DB's right on my hip. So guys, make sure you take what the defender gives us. Now, also, fellas, if you are a quarterback or wide receiver and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this off-season, we are going to be traveling out to 15 different cities and states across the U.S., as you guys can see here on the screen. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you're local to one of those cities or would like to travel out to train with myself and my staff of guys, check out that very first link in the description below. Again, very first link in the description below is where you get all the information. All of our camps last year sold out within the first 2 to 3 months of us announcing it, and we just announced it last week, and camps are already filling up, you guys. We had to turn away a lot of people last year because we limit the spots to make sure that each athlete could get individualized coaching. So guys, if you want to sign up, again, check out that very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this reaction video. All right, now this second route here, so again, we're going to approach every single route the exact same way. We look at the clip, we line up at the line of scrimmage, we're looking for the leverage of the DB, and then if he's how close or how far is he away from me. So this clip looks like he's inside shade press again. Don't know what route this wide receiver is ultimately running, but he's inside shade press, and he's maybe about, like, I would say like a yard, maybe almost 2 yards away from us. So what that tells us is that regardless if it's an inside breaking route or an outside breaking route, say it's that same dig route that we were running, because he's about a yard yard or two away from us, I can't just give him a move inside, take the outside release and go. I have to close the space, give him a move inside, and then go. That's what it tells me, whether I'm running an outside route or an inside route. And the reason why we have to close space is because that allows me to get skinny past the DB. Getting skinny is when you get hip to hip with him and you squeeze by him to be able to stack him and get over the top. But if you give him a move inside and there's still a bunch of space, I could get him to jump, but he could cut off my angle because I didn't bring that line of scrimmage to him. Bring the line of scrimmage to him, give him a move so I get right past him so I could stack him. And that's why it's easier to take that outside release versus inside shade press if we do that correctly. Okay, so let me play this route. So let's click the play button here. So he's doing an outside. Okay, so he's running an out route. So let's watch this again here. So he attacks him inside. He does a decent job closing space. Break was a little weak. Off the ball, you guys. So one thing that I'm seeing right off the get is that whenever you're running a route and you have against press and you have a DB who's in man coverage press, he's going to be keyed in on our hips, right? So if I come off the ball, my game plan is just head and shoulders to do a bunch of movement up top, like that's not necessarily going to get that guy to jump. What's going to get him to jump is me selling with my hips and me having movement with my like lower body when I throw that inside cut, because that's what he's keyed in on. He ain't going to move if I'm just doing this and my hips don't actually move. And when you watch this receiver go through this, that's kind of what he does. His hips really don't move, and that's why that DB's able to get hands and kind of squeeze us outside. Took the right release, did the right thing closing the space, but your technique still ultimately matters. Now, when he gets up into this break, you guys, kind of slows down before he cuts. The cut is a little weak. But yeah, guys, like on an out route like that where you have like inside shade press and you have to run an out route and you take that outside release, like when we're pushing up vertical, we got to be leaning into that guy, like using your body to your advantage, leaning into him. And when we cut, it's got to be a hard cut, you guys. It can't be this like kind of pitter-patter steps at the top, because if that DB's on my hip, he's going to be all over that thing and that quarterback's going to throw that way out of bounds. So, or just not even throw it in the first place. So guys, that cut at the top is going to be hard because you got to be leaning into this guy. And that is also why it's important to get skinny, and we have to try to move that DB off his platform with my hips. I can't just give him a quick shimmy up top and then release to the outside. So, I mean, right concept, right idea. I just think technique-wise, he could clean up some stuff. He didn't really slow down too much, but just that cut's got to be harder at the top of the break. All right, so this next clip here, we have a guy who's inside shade, and he's about like 5 yards away. Okay, so now what this tells me, he's still inside shade. So just because he's 5 yards away, that doesn't necessarily change anything as far as what his like responsibilities are, right? So if he's inside shade, that tells me that he's trying to take away the inside route. So if I have to run a dig, I have to run a post, I have to run anything inside, his job is to take it away. Now that he's 5 yards away, what does that tell me I have to do with my release? I got to close the space with him. I got to bring that line of scrimmage to him, then give him a move, and then go take that outside release if the route is further than like 5 yards, because he's sitting right at 5. Now, if you had to run like a 5 yard in and he's sitting inside shade 5 yards away, I'm going right at his outside shoulder and outside hip. I'm pushing vertical. My goal is to get him to open so I could cut underneath him. That's the difference. That's why it's important to look at distance off the line, not just be focused on, oh, well, what's his leverage, and then I'm going to do the route that way. So I'm going to play this full speed, and then we'll talk about it. I'm not even sure what route he runs, so he gives a little inside stem. Okay, so this looks like a sluggo, like a slant and go. Tough drop right there. But okay, so this makes sense. I like that he stems him inside because it is a sluggo, so he has to go back to the outside. So if you have to run like a double move, like a slant and go, that's what a sluggo is. Our goal, we probably don't want that DB to be on the outside because I have to get back to the outside. So what he does off the ball is he stems him, which essentially means attack leverage. It's like, you know, on every route there's a stem. That's like from point A to point B where you're running straight. He stems, which means like he kind of angles his stem at the DB's leverage to move him. And then he cuts to the slant, which is going to continue to move that DB inside. So he's going to have a lot of space to the other. This is actually a great route. This is a really good route. So he stems inside, breaks to the slant, gets that DB to jump, and then now we got a ton of space here. Now, ultimately drops the ball. That's not good, obviously. Reason why he drops this ball is that anytime you have an over-the-shoulder pass, guys, or any pass in general, you should never let it cross your face. I think a lot of guys, ball's thrown over the top and it crosses their face like they're here, and you're catching like the back half of the ball, and that's why it goes through the middle of your hands. Over the middle, over the shoulder, you guys got to catch the points of the ball. Don't let it cross your face. When it crosses your face, that's a lot of the times why drops happen. So I think that's why he ultimately dropped it, but I kind of like I love the way he ran the route. Stemmed him inside, broke to the slant. His eyes are to the slant. He's got good speed. Anytime we're doing a double move, you guys, it's very important that when you sell the first move, three things. Body language, which also ties into eyes. So you snap your eyes, hips and shoulders are committed to the slant in this case, but you can't have a change in speed because if you slow down, DB knows that probably a break back outside is ultimately coming, you guys. So he does a great job of that, makes a break, keeps his head down too. I think a mistake that a lot of guys make is after their first move on a double move, they look back for the ball right away. That slows them down and that DB can recover. So I actually really like this route. I just think that he could do obviously a better job of catching it, but ultimately did the right things.